Hello and very warm welcome to GS School. My name is Prabhat Kumar and this is the series on NCERT History Class 6. Today we will read the 7th chapter of this book. Before I start the chapter, let me remind you that the previous chapters of this book has already been uploaded on the channel. If you have not watched it till now, then it's a humble request to you to go and watch it. The link has been given in the description box. If you like my video series on NCERT, then hit the like button, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for all the notifications. If you have any doubt regarding the class, please put it down in the comment box. So now we start our chapter number 7. The title of the chapter is Ashoka, the emperor who gave up war. Let's have a look on the key points which we are about to discuss in this chapter. In this video, we will read about Mauryan dynasty and Mauryan empire. We will read about an important emperor of Mauryan dynasty, Ashoka, and we will see how Mauryan empire emerged in Indian civilization. We will also know about the Ashoka, the great emperor, and the war of Kalinga fought by Ashoka. And we will also know about Dhamma of Ashoka and his message to his future generations. And at the end of the chapter, we will also know about the Great Wall of China. The first topic is, what is the difference between empires and kingdoms? Both empires and kingdoms are states or countries ruled by a king or an emperor. The main difference between empire and kingdom is, empire is ruled by an emperor, whereas a kingdom is ruled by a king. An empire can consist of a group of kingdoms as well. Now, empire. An empire is a widespread group of states or countries ruled over by a single monarch, called an oligarchy or a sovereign state. The ruler of an empire is an emperor. Emperor is considered to be more powerful than a king because he has control over larger geographical area. The different states and regions can also be ruled by kings, but it is emperor who has the major control of the empire. Now, kingdom. Kingdom is a region, state or country ruled by a king or queen. A queen usually becomes the ruler when there are no male heirs in the royal family. A kingdom ruled by one king is called monarchy. Although the king is considered to be the ruler of a kingdom can also become a part of an empire. In such case, the king is under the control of empire. So, the basic difference between empires and kingdoms. Emperors needs more resources than kings because empires are larger than kingdoms and need to be protected by big armies. Because of that, they need a larger number of officials who collect taxes. Mauryan dynasty. Before the Mauryan dynasty, we will understand a term dynasty. When members of the same family become rulers one after another, the family is often called a dynasty. The Mauryans were a dynasty with three important rulers, Chandragupta, his son Bindusara, and Bindusara's son Ashoka. The empire that Ashoka ruled was founded by his grandfather Chandragupta Maurya more than 2300 years ago. Chandragupta was supported by a wise man named Chanakya or Kautilya. Many of Chanakya's ideas were written down in a book called Arthashastra. There were several cities in the empire. These included the capital Pataliputra, Takshila and Ujjain. Takshila was a gateway to the northwest, including Central Asia, while Ujjain lay on the route from north to south India. Merchants, officials and craft persons probably lived in these cities. In other areas, there were villages of farmers and herders. In some areas, such as central India, there were forests where people gathered forest produce and hunted animals for food. People in different parts of the empire spoke different languages. They probably ate different kinds of food and wore different kinds of clothes as well. As the empire was so large, different parts were ruled differently. The area around Pataliputra was under the direct control of emperor. This meant officials were appointed to collect taxes from herders farmers, craftspersons, and traders who lived in the villages and towns in the area. Officials also punished those who disobeyed the ruler's order. Many of these officials were given salaries. Messengers went to and fro and spies kept a watch on the officials. And of course, the emperor supervised them all with the help of members of the royal family and senior ministers. There were other areas or provinces. Each of these was ruled from a provincial capital such as Takshila or Ujjain. Although there was some amount of control from Pataliputra, and royal princes were often sent as governors. Local customs and rules were probably followed. There were vast areas between these centers. Here, the Mauryas tried to control roads and rivers, which were important for transport, and to collect whatever resources were available as tax and tribute. For example, the Arthashastra tells us that the northwest was important for blankets and South India for its gold and precious stones. It is possible that these resources were collected as tribute. There were also the forested regions. People living in these areas were more or less independent, but may have been expected to provide elephants, timber, honey, and wax to Mauryan officials. There are differences between tax and tribute. Tax were collected on a regular basis, but tribute was collected as when it was possible from people who gave a variety of things as a gift more or less willingly. Now we will read about a very unique ruler of Mauryan dynasty, Ashoka. The most famous Mauryan ruler was Ashoka, also known as Ashoka the Great. He was an Indian emperor of Mauryan dynasty who ruled almost all of the Indian subcontinent from 268 to 232 BC. He was the grandson of dynasty's founder Chandragupta Maurya. Ashoka promoted the spread of Buddhism across ancient Asia, considered by many to be one of the India's greatest emperors. Ashoka expanded Chandragupta's empire from present-day Afghanistan in west to Bangladesh in the east. It covered the entire Indian subcontinent except for part of present-day Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Kerala. The empire's capital was Pataliputra in Magadh, present-day Patna, Bihar, with provincial capital at Takshila and Ujjain. He was the first ruler who tried to take his message to the people through inscriptions. Most of Ashoka's inscriptions were in Prakrit and were written in the Brahmi script. Now, Kalinga War. The Kalinga War fought in ancient India between the Mauryan Empire under Ashoka and the state of Kalinga, an independent feudal kingdom located on the east coast in the present-day Odisha and northern part of the Andhra Pradesh. The Kalinga War included one of the largest and deadliest battles in Indian history. Kalinga did not have a king as it was culturally run without any. This is the only major war Ashoka fought after his accession to the throne. Ashoka fought and conquered the Kalinga. However, he was so horrified when he saw the violence and bloodshed that he decided not to fight any more wars. He is the only king in the history of the world who gave up conquest after winning a war. What Ashoka said after the Kalinga War. 8 years after becoming king, I conquered Kalinga. About 1.5 lakh of people were captured and more than 1 lakh of people were killed. This filled me with sorrow. Why? Whenever an independent land is conquered, lakhs of people die and many are taken prisoner. Brahmins and monks also die. People who are kind to their relatives and friends, to their slaves and servants die or lose their loved ones. That is why I am sad and have decided to observe Dhamma and to teach others about it as well. I believe that winning people over through Dhamma is much better than conquering them through force. I am inscribing this message for the future, so that my son and grandson after me should not think about war. Instead, they should try to think about how to spread Dhamma. What was Ashoka's Dhamma? Dhamma is a set of edicts that formed a policy of Mauryan Emperor Ashoka. Ashoka's Dhamma did not involve worship of a god or performance of a sacrifice. He felt that just as a father tries to teach his children, he had a duty to instruct his subjects. He was also inspired by the teachings of Buddha. There were a number of problems that troubled him. People in the empire followed different religions, and this sometimes led to conflict. Animals were sacrificed, slaves and servants were ill-treated. Besides, there were quarrels in families and amongst neighbors. Ashoka felt it was his duty to solve these problems. So, he appointed officials known as Dhamma Mahamatta, who went from place to place teaching people about Dhamma. Besides, Ashoka got his message inscribed on rocks and pillars, instructing his officials to read his message to those who could not read it themselves. Ashoka also sent messengers to spread ideas about Dhamma to other lands, such as Syria, Egypt, Greece, and Sri Lanka. He built roads, dug wells, and built rest houses. Besides, he arranged for medical treatment for both human beings and animals. Ashoka's message to his future generations. People perform a variety of rituals when they fall ill, when their children get married, when children are born, or when they go on a journey. These rituals are not useful. If instead people observe other practices, this would be more fruitful. What are these other practices? These are being gentle with slaves and servants, respecting one's elders, treating all creatures with compassion, giving gift to Brahmins and monks. It is both wrong to praise one's own religion or criticize another's. Each one should respect the other's religion. If one praises one's own religion while criticizing another's, one is actually doing greater harm to one's own religion. Therefore, one should try to understand the main ideas of another's religion and respect it. Now, the Great Wall of China. Before the time of Mauryan Empire, about 24,000 years ago, emperors in China began building the Great Wall. It was meant to protect the northern frontier of the empire from pastoral people. Additions to the wall were made over a period of 2,000 years because the frontiers of the empire kept shifting. The wall is about 6,400 km long and is made of stone and brick, with a road along the top. Several thousand people worked to build the wall. There are watchtowers all along at the distance of about 100 or 200 meters. Well, that's it from me. If you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for all the notifications. Next chapter will be uploaded very soon. If you have any question regarding the class, please put it down in the comment box. See you again next time. Thank you.